Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and welcome once again.
Man, the summer's moving on. It's going to be on its way out the door on Monday.
Yeah, we're right around the corner from
First
it, right?
day of fall.
Here we come.
It's going to be 106 on Tuesday.
It's funny you say it's fall, but, living here, it's more like you get summer and spring, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
There's really no fall and winter.
Summer and not summer.
Yeah, that's pretty much it here. So.
Summer and anti-summer.
Well, we got a little rain today, a little sprinkle out there.
Raining.
It's
Gonna rain
taking place,
tomorrow.
so that's
Loving
good news.
it.
Need
Yeah.
it for sure.
Not going to hit 100 today.
Just don't like the humidity that comes along with it.
Hey.
But hey, we'll take it.
Yeah. Plants need it.
So how about the D-backs? They're what, 1.5 games out of the wild card spot?
Yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen. And they traded away so many people at the deadline. Where could they be if they didn't do that? But we'll take it.
I don't know. What do you think, Aaron? You're a baseball guy.
It's funny. I was talking to my dad about this, and he said the same thing. If we didn't trade away these guys, will we have clinched already? And I said no, because you still don't have pitching.
Yeah.
Even down this stretch that we've had, we've blown a bunch of games from the bullpen. So
Yeah.
I still think we would have been struggling.
Yeah, and whatever they're figuring out, I think it's good, and I hope they at least get in the first round of the playoffs. Although the few years ago when we went to the World Series, they barely squeaked into the playoffs. So
Yeah, you just don't know. But
once
it's
you're
fun,
in,
right?
yeah.
So,
And the Cardinals are the worst 2-0 team in the NFL.
this guy, come on. Cardinals are going to win Super Bowl this year. Just telling you, it's coming.
Yeah, they didn't play two good teams so far. And they didn't, but maybe it's like golf.
Hey,
Maybe you
right.
golf better when you play better opponents. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe they just
They've got it.
You think?
Yeah, they do.
We'll
Listen,
see.
they have the talent, right? We all know that. The team has talent.
They do. They do. Big man Calais Campbell with his.
What a monster that guy is.
Yeah, he's a beast still at 37 or however old he is. And Cam Scatterboog scored his first NFL touchdown.
Way to go, Scatterboog.
Hey, yeah, Devils, man. Well, and other than that,
Yeah.
life is life.
Life is life, exactly. So,
Yeah.
Speaking of life, you're going to be attending the Celebration of Life here on Sunday, correct?
Yes, gonna try. We're gonna get there plenty early and wait in whatever line is there until we get in.
Yeah, it's kind of, for the moment being the moment is. This is truly one of those historical moments that we are going through. And, I mean, just to take that in, to breathe, to just take it in, exhale, and understand completely what's going on.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it'll be really cool. And
Yeah.
it's going to be on TV. I think Channel 12 is showing it. Fox, I think, is showing it. Fox 10. I think it's going to be all over the TV. So,
Yeah, and then now it's going to be all over TV too, more because.
well, I don't think Fox 10 will have it. They
No,
have
but I'm
football.
sure ABC is going to be airing some information or a
Yeah.
celebration of life in place of Jimmy Kimmel, correct?
Well, they're bye-bye Jimmy. They're going to be playing some kind of tribute to Charlie Kirk instead of Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight, I think. And you can always watch it on Newsmax or Real America's Voice or Right Side Broadcasting. They'll be
Sure.
all live streaming it as well. But yeah, I was watching on the news last night. They said that the level of security that's going to be there, because the president, vice president, most of the cabinet's going to be there. There's going to be a lot of people. They call it a national or an event of national importance.
Okay.
And so that's the security level, which is the same designation that the Super Bowl has.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be
I imagine it's going to be crazy.
insane.
But
Insane.
it's good to know that we have the Gruber cables down there
Yeah.
at the stadium to be able to get that data and communications and keep them open.
There you
right?
go.
So speaking of that,
We're everywhere.
I know. It's kind of leading into what we're going to talk about a little bit today, which gets into laws and regulations in communications world,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And what's really bringing this up to us here recently is the freedom of speech that everybody's talking about in the media,
Right.
and the consequences of what we've seen with some of the speech that's out there.
Right. Yep. And I mean, do people have a right to pretty much say anything, including the most repugnant things? Absolutely, they have the right. What they don't have the freedom from is consequences.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you have a company that doesn't approve of what you post on social media and it brings disrepute to them, then they have every right to sever the relationship. And it has nothing to do with, you're not going to get arrested for saying it.
No.
So,
No.
but company, and they proved this during the COVID era when people were getting canceled off of, platforms like Twitter and Facebook just for saying something that people didn't like.
Sure.
And even though they were right, it didn't matter. They took them off, and they're a private company, right? So they were kind of doing the government's bidding without it being the government doing it.
Correct. And to distinguish that, we were talking about this before the show. I think a lot of people are kind of not misinformed, maybe uneducated to understand the lines that are drawn between the two.
Right.
So, for instance, you get the freedom of speech was governed under the Constitution and the federal government of the United States.
Right.
Okay. That is different from, say, your employer who went on social media and disagreed with what you put out there and terminated you for it.
Right.
One is at the federal level, and one is at more like an employer rights issue.
Right.
And you need to distinguish between those.
Right. I mean, they do have a right to, if they are made aware, as several thousand employers have been over the last week, of, vile, hateful comments regarding recent events, and they don't want to continue to associate with the person, they are absolutely within their rights to say this person doesn't share the values of our company.
Correct.
Yep.
And those are two separate issues, because that is separate from freedom of speech, which is governed by the Constitution.
Right. Like I said, you're free to say anything you want.
Yep.
But, there's an orbit.
There are consequences.
There's an orbit that you have, and there are people in your orbit who may choose to break gravity with you.
We got somebody talking up there. I can't see the whole comment yet, but we'll take a look at that shortly. James Kimmel, the FCC chairman Brandon Carr called for regulatory action, including hinting at possible consequences like license revocations if broadcasters not take action in response to Kimmel's comments. Is this cross freedom of speech? Is this not cross freedom of speech?
Well, again, it has to do with people having the right to say whatever they want, but they don't, companies don't have an obligation to continue their employment if it elicits strong negative public reaction.
Correct.
And anybody who's, had their eyes open and their ears open the last week has found out that there is a line that pretty much 90% of Americans would say is there.
Yeah, there is a line there that's drawn.
And companies are taking it seriously, and, like it or not, people have the choice of making them and dealing with the fallout, or restraining themselves.
Yeah.
And there are just certain people who can't restrain themselves, apparently. A lot of them happen to be teachers and educators, unfortunately, which kind of explains why the young minds are where they are today, because, forcing doctrine on children is why a Charlie Kirk was necessary, to go out to college campuses and actually have dialogue with people who've been programmed by these educators who can't seem to restrain from posting vile remarks,
And the key word you used there was dialogue.
Yeah.
Being able to talk freely and create dialogue and create those conversations in order to educate, and that's really what he was out there doing. It was educating people.
Right.
Hey, Cass, the last picture I sent you is free speech picture. Can you pull that up? Because that kind of ties into what this question was all about here. There we go. You want to read that there, Mark?
Under 18 U.S.C. 875C, it is a federal crime to transmit any communication containing any threat to kidnap any person or any threat to injure the person of another. Likewise, 18 U.S.C. 876 and 18 U.S.C. 115 make it a felony to threaten public officials, members of Congress, or their families. You cannot call for someone's murder. You cannot swat a member of Congress. You cannot dox a conservative family and think it will be brushed off as free speech. These acts are punishable crimes, and every single threat will be met with the full force of the law. And that was a quote from Pam Bondi.
Yep, exactly.
I mean,
Pretty straightforward.
Use your judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, people issue, there are people who threaten the life of the president, and FAFO, right? They get a visit.
Sure do.
Yep.
They
And
sure do.
is that covered under free speech? The Supreme Court has upheld that yelling fire in a crowded building is not free speech.
Correct. Oh, you're welcome to do it, but you're not going to like the consequences for doing so.
Right. I mean, there's just things that I think common sense say shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Yeah.
common sense isn't too common anymore.
Exactly. So, talking about the FCC, if you want to pull up picture number 1, we're going to get into a little bit of today's topic a little more deeply here. Communications Act of 1934. This is when the FCC actually came into play, basically. We're going to take a look at some of this here.
Public airwaves are free, right?
They are, right?
And the government gives the airwaves to broadcasters. And, there are just certain obligations that they have to the public. And I keep looking to see if...
Yeah, I'm looking to see if it's popping up there. What's going on, Cass? Having some fun? Little technical difficulties. There we go. So anyway, this was one of the laws that created the Federal Communications Commission and regulated telephone, telegraph, and radio commissions began in 1934. There were some laws in place earlier, but they really didn't have too much of a governing effect at that point in time.
Right.
So they found it necessary to, basically build up some framework.
Right.
I guess you could say, for coming up. Established the FCC to oversee, regulate communication services across the country. Goal was to make communication services like phone, radio back then available to everyone at reasonable prices. So it did cover, some costs there as well.
Right.
And then over time, it has been updated to cover television, satellites, and internet.
Yeah. And, again, they're kind of the traffic cops of the airwaves, and they just... for the public good, have certain rules established that govern the operation of these public trusts.
Sure.
Yeah.
There for the safety of the people.
Right.
Picture number 2, this was actually updated again in 1996. So it's too small for me to read there.
96 is
Why is that?
the year I was.
I knew you were going to say
Oh.
that. Can you zoom in a little bit more, please? So we can, yeah.
Would you like to read that for us? Promoted competition, right? There's a little misspell there. Yeah. So promoted competition. Internet regulations were introduced.
Was that Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Okay.
The media ownership rules were relaxed a little bit.
Right.
I think that was a big part in play with what was going on at the time there, and said, hey guys, we need to open things up a little bit, relax some of the rules so that we could establish, especially with the way that communications was moving forward at the time.
Right.
They needed to loosen it up to create that.
Well, originally the rules were designed with, that no one media or outlet could own more than a certain percentage of the total household, total coverage of.
Back then they called it viewership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That way, no single, entity could become in essence, like Soviet era state TV or,
Right.
Pravda, just the sole news source.
Cash, you're muted, just to let you know.
I fixed it.
You fixed it. She fixed it there.
I got it. Thank you.
Long
you go.
distance regulation, deregulations occurred. Universal service provisions were in place. Communication sharing, that's a big one, especially with the way that we had internet regulations introduced and then communication sharing. Those are two big keys that are kind of play into our industry
Right.
and what we do in regards to data communication.
Right. In other words, if a company, because utilities, telephone companies, cable services are granted right-of-way access on public property for their cabling, for their equipment, that essentially kind of like when the breakup of the Ma Bell and there were the Baby Bells.
Yeah.
And then you could actually get phone service from other carriers, and they had to allow use of their equipment and their wires essentially. But they delivered, the switch connectivity once it made it to them, so that, if there's 10 carriers, you didn't have to have 10 pairs to your house to do it. So that was part of communication sharing, was, forcing, the companies that were given advantage, and it's kind of like now too with the APS and public utilities, you can choose a different energy provider, even though that's APS wire that goes into your house.
Sure.
You can still choose.
There are options available for you
exactly.
for that purpose.
Choose who your ultimate source of power is, so that, that way, I mean, it's all a shell game, but
Yeah, right.
it's the illusion of choice. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you have all these laws that are introduced, and it just keeps, this is broad, right? And it scales itself down to the local level through the states. So there's a lot of activities going on with the state when it comes to, especially our industry, data communications and installations and so forth.
Right.
There are rules and laws at the state level, even city levels, that
Right.
govern over, how these happen to be implemented. One thing I know for us, especially, we deal with a lot of time is like plenum rating, for fire codes.
Right.
So it really does. You have a broad spectrum, and then it gets down to the microscope level where they take a look at the industry. And so, by the way, boom, this has to be a code adherent to this fire, rated material, whether it's
Right.
plenum or low smoke or halogen.
Right. In California, you
California,
have that. You have earthquake, ratings and things like that for racks and stuff like that.
That's a big one, actually. Seismic ratings
Yeah.
for racks, especially along the what we call the Ring of Fire up through the Pacific
Northwest, yeah.
down through California. There are codes that, especially airports, where
Yeah.
you have to have a seismic rated rack to a certain level in case of, like you said, earthquake,
Right.
just to ensure that the equipment can still function.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of these things where, there are trade-offs, but it's, they're valuable additions to what needs to happen.
Sure, well,
right?
it needs to be done. Just like NEMA rating is another one,
Right.
Right. For those of you who don't know too much about NEMA ratings, it governs over everything from production facilities to, say, oceanic vessels. Just very specific ratings where you need to control the environment
Right.
of the communication equipment within, say, some sort of a
Container box,
some sort
yep.
of box, or whether it's a rack,
Right.
but to keep out, especially sea-bearing vessels. I mean,
Right.
salt water's harsh.
Right.
It's a very harsh environment.
Chemicals, oils, solvents, things like that. I mean, anything that can be on a boat.
Yeah,
Right.
There's a
There are
lot going on there.
Yeah, different NEMA ratings to ensure that that doesn't seep in or corrode the equipment or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now let's go picture number 3. This is one that everybody, I think, out there talks about all the time, and that's data privacy and protection. There's various laws all around the place that govern this. HIPAA, probably everybody's aware of that, right?
Yep.
So
That's the medical stuff.
That is, yeah. COPA protects data of children under the age of 13. This is kind of an interesting one because I know myself and our family, I know that we have children under the age of 13 who have been given a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to understand that data that they're using on that particular cell phone is protected.
Right.
You know, we don't want that information to go out anywhere else, especially dealing with a minor child.
Well, I know we all feel like, you know, there are a lot of laws on the books for protection, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel protected?
Never.
No. Cass, do you feel protected?
Do I? No.
No. What about you, Aaron?
Fine, I'll be that guy. 100% protected. I feel good.
No. You're a liar. No. But honestly, we know. So if we understand, and this is, you know, I think there's value in holding companies accountable for this sort of thing, for sure.
Yeah.
But we should not act as if we are protected. We should always protect ourselves, whether it's, you know, antivirus software or even if you use a VPN, you know, for a browser, and you think there are ways back to you. I mean, you're public on the internet, no matter whether you think you are or not.
Yeah. And even if you decide to delete your text messages, sorry to tell you, they're still out there.
Yeah.
Any information on your phone, it is governed. I mean, they do keep this out there.
Yeah.
And they do their best to protect it. But every so often we hear about a company that, you know, has a data breach. And
I mean, there are ways to make it
happens.
harder, but I don't know that there are any ways to make it impossible. Right?
just not use it.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but it's an integral part of our everyday life. So you do have to think about protection.
Right.
You really do. Yeah, you have the GLBA protects financial data, state laws. This again, where it comes down and it starts broad and then narrows itself down to the state level. So just be aware, different states have different laws regarding your data protection.
Right. Do you still feel protected?
No,
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
100% protected.
Here's what
Oh,
I'm going to say
man,
about
come
this,
on,
especially
dude.
when it comes to, I have the simplest PIN number for my debit card, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows this. Many people know my debit card PIN number. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
1111.
I'm okay with that because you know what? I'm federally protected up to $250,000 in my bank account, right? Sorry, people, I don't have $250,000 in my bank account. So if you get in and it's a fraud charge against my bank, I get my money back.
Right.
Yes, it's a hassle. Yes, it might be a few days I have to wait for them to return the funds to my account, but I'm not going to lose sleep over this type of a scenario.
Right. Especially, you know, I mean, it happens, especially when you buy stuff off.
Yeah.
I almost said
Yeah,
it.
you almost said
Never
it.
mind.
Yeah. Sorry about
Never
that,
mind.
TikTok.
Well, I didn't say it.
You were going to say TikTok.
No, you said it though. What is?
TikTok? Or are you going to say Temu?
I was gonna say whatever. I wasn't gonna say anything now.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, picture number 4. Again, this is a security issue, cybersecurity and national security. And it's just some talking points about it. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Yeah, that's a big one that's out there. Electronic Communications Privacy Act, Federal Information Security Management Act, and then Patriot Act. I think we're all familiar with that, you know, over time. AV fan, TikTok has been saved. Didn't you hear?
Did Elon buy it?
I don't know who bought it, but I know they were working on saving it. Yeah, let us know. Who ended up
Who bought
buying TikTok?
It was Larry Ellison's Oracle.
Oh,
Oracle
I
purchased
think it was the same
Really?
group that owns
Okay.
Oracle that purchased it.
Oh,
but
nice.
I guess there's some. They didn't. So they purchased it, but the algorithm is going to be licensed from. I always forget the company name. Is it ByteDance?
ByteDance.
ByteDance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be licensed from them. The algorithm is,
And
but
there
all
you
the
go,
data
Oracle.
sounds like it's going to be housed inside the U.S.
Okay.
Oh, that's a big game changer, right?
I mean, maybe.
Sure it is. We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah. Well, from what, you know, everybody said there was a danger out there. So I guess now
Hey.
there's not.
TikTok lives, man.
I still don't feel safe. That's all right. You know, we're living in an age where, you know, personal accountability is something that people tend to just ignore.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
We are, you know, you can either live a life as a professional victim or as somebody who's responsible and accountable, and you understand that the buck stops here, and you got to deal with your own crap, whatever it is. And so if you live life that way, you're a whole lot more
I'll
in
tell you
control.
What,
Let me just put it that way.
It's so true. And one of the things is that don't be a sheep.
No.
Be a leader. And what I mean by that is you don't have to be a leader to the rest of the world. Be a leader to yourself.
Yeah.
Govern yourself and take it forward from there.
Yeah. I like that I've seen the little memes out there or pictures out there that say lions, not sheep,
Yeah.
And that's what I think, it's really good to be, to feel empowered, to be in control of your own life, and, just understand it's up to you.
Yeah,
And-
that's a choice you have every day to make when you get out of
Yep.
bed.
If it's to
Yeah.
be, it's up to me.
Major Tom says China already pirated all of our data, so they can just give up TikTok now.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably right.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
I think they finished off collecting all the data when they sent the balloons over, right?
Yeah, is that what it was? That was their Chinese internet.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Picture number 5. We'll get through these here. Businesses and contractual obligations. You got the UCC and contract laws and export controls. Right now, everybody's probably more geared in towards that export controls because of the whole tariff issue that's been going on.
Right. Yeah.
These are part of our industry. I mean, these directly affect what we are doing in our industry. Tariffs is one thing that we talk about daily now. It really is. I'm not sure where it's going to go from here because it seems to be a daily topic because it's bouncing around up and down, left and right.
Right. I think
Where's it going to land?
I think they've negotiated a bunch of deals now to where there is starting to be some equilibrium and people are starting to understand where things landed.
Mm-hmm.
There are not many outliers now left. There are some and some important ones, but a lot of valuable partners are, it's all set now. So what do you do but keep moving?
Right.
Yep.
We got one last photo here in regards to this issue, and that's international standards and treaties. This is a big one because our data is traveling around the world at light speed, going through different servers through different countries. Every time you send an email, it probably travels around the world 2-3 times possibly.
I mean, it gets there pretty quick.
Yeah. I've actually sent emails and been blacklisted off a server in China before.
Really?
Yeah, that was difficult to whitelist and get scrubbed and come back from on that one.
Wow. I don't even know if I want to know what was in that email.
It's just a business email. It's just a simple flyer.
Oh, were you sending something to? Oh, and it got forwarded.
It got caught up there.
Yeah.
But you have the Telecommunications Union, International Telecommunications Union, Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. That's a big one. I know personally people have been affected by cybercrime. Again, do you feel protected? They're trying.
I mean, yeah, it's the Wild West, and technology is moving faster than lawmakers can make laws, or even understand what they need to be doing. I think that things move quickly, and people left to their own devices, there's going to be some bad apples, bad actors out there, and that's why, again, you just got to do common sense things and protect yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Like I said before, become your own leader, govern yourself, and as much as people say sticks and stones can break my bones, words will never hurt me. Guess what? Words hurt.
Yeah.
They do. And you can't take them back. Once you put that out there in the world, no matter what platform you're using, it's out there.
Did you watch that Netflix thing, that high school catfish or whatever it was called?
I did. OMG.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, did you get as irate as I did? I mean, I was like, you just...
I was disgusted.
If that doesn't tell you need to protect yourself...
Yeah.
I mean, that was a...
If you haven't seen it and you get a moment and you want to watch it and just with an open mind and just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
What's it called? Catfish?
It was Catfish High School.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah. After you get done picking your jaw up off the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. Your jaw will hit the floor on that one.
Yeah. If you're normal, anyway. If you're normal, it'll bother you.
There was
bit.
a lot. It did bother me a little
Yeah.
bit, because it did play with your psyche there a little bit on what took place. But what really played with me is that this was a true case, a true story.
Oh
This
yeah,
wasn't
it was all
just
real.
manufactured
It
story.
wasn't like play
So-
time or anything. It was the real thing. Did you see it, Cass?
I've watched about half of it so far.
Oh,
Okay, we won't
tune you in
spoil
then.
alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we
Spoiler
won't,
there,
no.
but
What
just
about you, Aaron?
Yes, that was very disturbing.
Yes.
I think it's crazy that with everything that we've learned in the past, this stuff still goes on.
Right.
So try
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
put any spoilers out there, but yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Yeah. Now Cass is going to go home and watch the rest of it tonight.
Yeah, enjoy it. And when I say enjoy it from the simple fact that it's like you said, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
I can't put any other word on it because it is. It just knocks you.
Yep. So talking about things that make you go,
Exactly. So,
All right. Well, we've reached the end of our journey today.
Another one. Wow.
And next one will be the last podcast of the third quarter.
Yeah. Hey,
think,
next
yeah.
week we have a special guest coming on.
We
We're excited about this
do.
one.
We have Luke Fry from Gray Bar.
Yeah, Luke Fry from Gray Bar is going to be joining us. Should be great.
Yeah, we're excited. Another vendor partner, somebody that is a great resource, and we want to just bring him on. He is a podcaster in his own right.
He is.
And
Correct. Yeah.
so he'll, I'm sure, bring some knowledge drops when he shows up. Remember, like, subscribe, share this podcast. We're here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. Please make sure that you keep it to Arizona time, because the time zone's going to change. Well, it's not till November, right? So you got a month and a half before that becomes an important distinction anyway.
Right.
But yeah, we appreciate you being here. We're here because you're here. And so for now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and hey, do me a favor. Hit that like button, not for me, not for Mark, but hit it for Aaron. Right?
There you
He's
go.
holding his hand up in the air.
Aaron, Aaron, Aaron.
Thank you once again.